everybody, welcome back to the channel. Wes from Perfect Circuit here, and today we're going to talk about the pocket operator KO number 33. Today I've got the 133, which is a Street Fighter version. It is exactly the same, it's just got Chun-Li on it, so. I have a really strong affection for tiny handheld electronic devices. I really enjoy the way that it kind of changes how you interface with them, how you interact and kind of groove, and it just really clicks with the way I live my life as well, which is on the go. I love things that I can just cram in my pocket, and when inspiration strikes, I can pull them out, do what I do, and then, move on to the next thing. Another thing that I really love is samplers. I love recontextualizing audio, grabbing little bits and things that I hear in the real world and just mangling them up. And in particular, I love lo-fi samplers. I feel like the higher noise floor and the gritty kind of texture to them adds a lot to the sound, and it's something that I love. So the PO-33 is a perfect marriage of a bunch of the things I really like in a package that I absolutely adore. And Teenage Engineering has done a phenomenal job making this device more powerful than it has any right to be. One of the most powerful aspects of the PO-33 and the Pocket Operator series in general is their simplicity. Pocket operators in particular come with a manual the size of a business card, and you can learn how to use them by reading about half of that, or by watching the first 47 seconds of like a 5-minute video. And I like that a lot because I'm a millennial, and millennials hate manuals. Well, I'm just kidding. Manuals are great. I'm actually on my 3rd year of Octatrack college, and I'll have my degree in no time. But for everybody else, we just like to go. So in this video, we're gonna cover the second half of that business card manual and the other 4 minutes of that video, show you some of the cool tricks that the KO has under the hood, and hopefully get you rocking and making music faster. Let's just briefly cover recording samples in the PO-33. So the top 8 tracks here are going to be your melodic tracks. They'll allow you to sequence one sound chromatically, so you can play notes. The bottom 8 tracks here are going to be your drum tracks. They allow you to slice an audio sample 16 times and get 16 different sounds that you can play. It's very handy for drums, but it can also be nice for like chopping up a melodic sample of some sort. You can do whatever you want with it. There's no restrictions. The melodic sample slots will allow you to just sample whatever and chromatically pitch it around, while the drum sample slots will scan the incoming audio for transients and do their darndest to slice them up and spread them out across the 16 pads here. So let's just record a real quick drum bank and a real quick melodic bank. I'm gonna just steal some of the sounds here off of my 404 and throw them into the pocket operator. So all we got to do to record in some drum sounds is hold our record button up here and then click our drum sound track that we want to record into. So we're going to use 12 here. So let's do it. All right, let's see how she did. All right, did a pretty good job there. Now let's get something more melodic in here. So I'm gonna sample this sound in. So let's grab it on 4 here, and as soon as so it's 4 here, it's gonna be 4 here. All right, let's see. Awesome. So as you can see, we got all the things we need to start jamming. So let's take a look at the sequencer because there's a couple of cool tricks in here. All right, so let's listen to That first sound. Okay, actually, I kind of like that. So let's put that note there, and all right, cool. Now here is first cool tip for you. If you hold down a note in the melodic sequence, it'll say copy, and it'll play for you. And then what you can do is actually change the length of the note. So we can make it kind of cut out right there before that last step, which is exactly what I want here. Let's take a listen. So kind of gets out of the way there. All right. And then another thing that you can do, maybe you say like, you know, this one right up here, it's okay, but I'm not in love with it, so maybe all right, cool. So just to recap, if you hold down one of your sequence steps and turn the left key, you can change which melodic pitch it's playing. If you turn the right key, you can change the length. So that's pretty rad. Now let's get some drums up in here. I'm gonna need that one right there, I can already tell you. All right, now everything else can go in. All right, so here comes our next tip for you. I didn't know that you can live play in notes. So if you just hold down the right key and then play notes, they will be entered in the sequence while the sequencer is playing. So that's pretty cool. So let's take a look. And I missed that one, so let's just put it right there. Let's try again. All right, and you can see we actually truncated our kick drum there, so let's take a look. All right, cool. Now, let's take a look at what we can do on these sequence steps if we press and long hold them. So, if we press and long hold here and we move the right one, nothing happens. If we move the left one, we can change the sound. But here's where the real magic happens. If you push the BPM button, it'll say trigger 2. So what you're doing here is setting the re-trigger amount. So let's put it on 3 and take a listen to this step, and let's put 2 on this step. All right, sick, tight. The next thing I want to talk about is using effects in your sequence. Now, like all pocket operators, you can punch in effects on this unit and they'll affect your sequence. But on the KO, you can do a couple of unique ones like the reverse and the scratches that really can change the kind of groove of your sequence. So punching them in and then leaving them punched in and then performing on top of them can create really easy and fun variations. So let's take a look here. So here's our little beat. And I'm gonna add some reverse and some scratch variation, just real quick punch-ins here. Let's take a listen. All All right, so now you can see it's got like a little bit of a hang there and a kind of double tap on the snare. So now we can perform on top of this for just an almost infinite number of variations, because when we punch in effects that we're not recording over those ones that were recorded, the new ones will supersede it. So letting the original through, and then if we do nothing, we'll get the affected version. Let's take a listen, because that might have been mildly confusing. A feature of this device that absolutely brought it to the next level for me was the ability to move pads around and also to create custom drum kits. It is possible, and it's actually very easy. So let's take a look at this. Let's say that we want that cool hi-hat sound on this pad that just kind of has the ghost of another note on it. So we go to our original sound, we hear it, right? So that's it, that's the sound we want. And then we're gonna hit right sound, we're gonna go into the pad, it's gonna flash like that, right? And then we hit the pad where we want. So we hit 2, okay? So now let's make sure we're on 12 and that cool hi-hat is right there where we want it. Sick. O mode. Okay, maybe let's move something else. All right, let's move that one. I like it. All right, so we're gonna move it to pad 16 down here. So back over to 11, pad 1, and we're gonna hold right, sound, go to 12, they're both flashing. We haven't let up any notes. And then number 16. And then let's see, we're on 12. And there's our 16th pad. Awesome. Okay, so that's super helpful. You can even move sounds around to different pads in the same bank if you want. You just, click this and then, move it here, and now that's not the only trick you can do with copying and pasting things around. There's actually something super nifty that you can do if you copy a melodic track to a drum track. Now, the drum tracks are always going to try to transient slice whatever you record into them. But if you copy a melodic track into a drum track, it just linearly divides slices across the audio file, and you end up with a perfectly sliced file. Now, the key to this is going to be timing. So you're going to want to hit record and your play button at the exact same time, and then let up at the perfect moment. And I would, recommend practicing this a few times. You can trim it in the PO-33, but it's just more fun to do it right the first time. 1, 2, 3, hit all the buttons at the right time. Here we go. All right, so we got a little bit too much on there. Let's just trim that bit. Let's just trim that bit right off. And then all we need to do is copy the pad we're on to the one we want it to be on. And now if you're wondering how I got that to just play instantly, and I didn't put any of these steps in, it's because the steps were already in there, which is my next little tip for you. If you have a drum track and you put steps in and then you assign something to that drum track, it will immediately appear in the pattern. So we can actually try out different drum breaks now if we so choose. So we could go back up to this one, delete it, you know, and then maybe try one more time with this drum break here. All right, let's see. Okay, we'll just punch a little teach bit on there, and then one more time we'll throw it down here and we'll see what happened. Another feature of the pocket operators that is often overlooked is the variety of sync modes that the pocket operators offer. Sync modes are going to come into play when you're plugging something into the left side of the pocket operator. Now on the KO, the sampler, any audio that you throw in here is always going to be monitored. But if you want to sync this device up with something like, I don't know, say a Bastel Castle or other devices that fit in the palm of your hand that output an analog pulse, you'll want to get familiar with the sync modes. Now, I have memorized all 5 sync modes, and I know exactly what they all do. And I'm here today to tell you that sync modes 2 and 4 are going to be the most important. So sync mode 2 is going to allow you to input an analog pulse on either channel of a TRS cable or just use a standard TS cable, and the pocket operator will synchronize to that analog pulse. So sync mode 2 is going to be great for syncing this up with a modular or maybe you know, a small sequencer that outputs analog clocks so you can synchronize up with other devices. But sync mode 2 is only going to be concerned with the clock. Sync mode 4 allows you to bus 2 channels into a pocket operator using a TRS cable. In this mode, the left channel will look for an analog pulse and the right channel will pass mono audio through the device. So this mode's going to be awesome for using with other devices, other pocket operators, or anything where you're going to want to hear the audio coming through and also the analog pulse. The Castle drum here makes great use of this little I/O port so we can split the sync signal and the audio coming out. Before we plug this bad boy in, let's make sure we're on the right sync mode setting. All you do is hit record and then BPM and it'll show you your sync mode settings. So let's go to sync mode 4 there, and then let's plug this guy in. We can hear the Castle drum, and if we turn our volume up all the way here and hit play, we'll start to hear our drum beat here too. So you can see the tempo is being controlled by the Castle drum. All right, you guys, I hope you've had fun with us today playing around with the pocket operator. And if you didn't, or you don't have one, you really should just go pick one up. They're under $100. They're absolutely phenomenal little devices. And at that price point, I mean, if you pick it up and use it for a month, you've probably gotten your money's worth. But this is a device that I consistently come back to and find inspiration, new people finding new tricks and new ways to use it, and stuff I got to try out for myself. Or if I just want to get up and go and start making music, this is the type of device I'll reach for. So I hope you guys have had fun today. Let us know down in the comments what devices you're really passionate about and what sort of things you love to throw in your pocket, get up and go. We'll cover a bunch more fun stuff like this in the future, so make sure to like, subscribe, so you know what we're up to. Okay, here's just a little bonus thing because we love the shtick and we love this pocket operator, so. All right, that's enough of that. Let's see what she yielded.